Snetterton is a classic. There's no other way to put it. The flat race course of today has seen several evolutionary steps to be what it's become, with the addition of an infield section sure to produce contact in anything faster than a bicycle. Come along for the ride as Andy McEwen once again does his best to defend a growing points lead in the British Sim Racers Trophy Tuesdays MX-5 Winter Series. Hello and welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Snetterton circuit. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with JP Costa, and JP, welcome to Norfolk.
Thank you so much. I'm just so happy to be back here after last time out. I was just counting the days, as I say that each and every single week, but this track, this series, everything about this is so much fun. And the track today, Andrew, it's a new for me, it's a new for you, it's a new for Pit Stop TV, and boy oh boy, I'm excited to see cars racing around here.
It's going to be a fun one for sure, I'd say. It's going to be one of the slower tracks, I think, as far as speeds, but it's sure to produce contact, as I mentioned. I think we're definitely going to see some guys getting into each other. That infield section is so tough to navigate here at Snetterton. It took me several tries in several cars just to get around here to learn it for myself, and that's just to be able to broadcast here. There's so much, I think, to learn here at Snetterton. I don't know if you ever stopped learning how to turn laps here and how to go fast here at the Snetterton circuit. Let's take a look at it from above. You can see the track map on your screen. Now, I do want to preface this by saying I didn't know until literally today that Turn 2 is no longer named Montreal, but is actually named Wilson after the late Justin Wilson. So we'll go ahead and make that change by Thursday. But yeah, Turn 2 is Wilson, that hairpin after Rich's for Turn 1. Palmer, Agostini, Hamilton, Augies, and Williams, those are your infield section corners that make up really the 100 course here at Snetterton, as we are on the full 300 course here today. You would go from Montreal, well, Wilson, straight to Williams, and continue down the Bentley straight if this were the 200 course. And of course, the courses here at Snetterton are named by their length: 300 for 3 miles, 200 for 2 miles, and 100 for 1 mile.
It's just so much fun, and that's an interesting thing that I also learned today from you, actually, those number configuration. And obviously the back end of the circuit, as you mentioned, Bentley straight, you exit out of Brundle and Nelson after the name after Nelson PK, bomb hole turn 11. Then you have the really interesting section of turns 12 and 13. I feel like that's one of the most challenging corners of the race course. Obviously on the Mazda MX-5 might be a little bit slower, but still challenging, getting the car turned in and obviously braking for Murray's, and then, well, center straight, and you get to do it all over again for 15 minutes, 4 times that. Andrew, I guess this has the recipe to be one of those classic British sim races that we've had.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of that classic BSR kind of racing when there's a bit of contact, a hip check or two, and certainly some teamwork from the cars that just went by our camera there. 5-Star Motorsport, they will be sure to be working together through qualifying and through today's races. You can see it's a bit overcast, which will impact the standings because it's going to be an interesting race. I think every time that we have clouds overhead, it gets a little more interesting. The track cools down, tire temps are more difficult to build, and that tends to give another mistake or two to this field and just mix things up a little bit. These are your standings after 5 rounds of 9. It's an entirely pro top 12 now. Douglas Stewart is now your points leader for Pro-Am. Fiona Siddons is actually now your points leader in Amateur. So a lot has changed around. Adam Mitchinson missing last week really impacted his season, and this is the result.
Absolutely. It's just, this actually shows how costly it is sometimes to miss out one race, let alone 4. So as you mentioned, Adam Mitchinson lost the lead. Fiona Siddons doing an absolutely amazing job to be in the top 20 overall. An incredible job. Obviously Douglas Stewart, Silkstone Sherwood, and Duncan as all doing a fantastic job to be inside that top 20 overall again. And obviously, as you mentioned, the top 12 full of pro drivers in the championship battle, Andrew, is getting closer and closer.
Yeah, only 4 rounds to go, including today, as we bring you the first Pit Stop TV broadcast of February 2022. Silverstone next week, then it's Brands Hatch and Mount Panorama to wrap up the season. So just Snetterton, Silverstone, Brands Hatch, and Bathurst left to go for these guys. Some pretty quick fire racetracks. The 5-Star boys go right to the top of the board. Let's go ahead and catch up on qualifying then, as qualifying is well underway. Here's a look at those guys heading down now to Wilson. It looks like they just wrapped up their fastest of each of their flying laps and actually now have the top 3 times on the board.
Yeah, there you go. So that's teamwork just well, on its finest. You can see all three of them separated by 1.3 tenths of a second, which is really close. And this has been a trend that we saw throughout the season, haven't we, Andrew? Even on shorter tracks like Brands Hatch Indy, we saw these guys helping each other, giving themselves tow, which is just, I mean, it's insane to think even on close, I guess, short racing, you can say, helping each other out and sticking information is just fantastic to see.
It is pretty interesting to see how important this teamwork has been throughout this season so far. It puts these guys up front for race number 1, and certainly helps them out, I'd say, for that first race. But obviously it all gets changed with the inverts. Here's a look at second place currently in qualifying for Pro-Am. Paul Donkin. Jamie Gulliford is actually your pole sitter right now in that class. You can see he's actually leading Andy McEwen, our points leader, with Nathan Davies now to the inside. A couple of passes there. That was Augustini as McEwen gives the line to Nathan Davies, and well, he and Gulliford both go off track. Lee Holmes behind there as well, and Gulliford still trying to hang on to that race car. Gets back on in Hamilton there. It's going to be an interesting day of racing. I don't know what to expect here at Snetterton, so if somebody out there in the chat does, we'll take any advice you can give us.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what to expect either, but I'm sure it's going to be fun as well. As you can see there, now we cut to Tom Griffiths, who is currently 9th place, 1 second away from our poles, and that's something that I noticed. The gap between those teammates, 1.3 tenths of a second. 4th place, 7.3 tenths behind those, so that's a big gap. Those teammates have been doing a fantastic job of helping each other out. And well, with that, Andrew, comes, well, an interesting challenge. 4th down to 9th, only 2 tenths of a second separating them, so it's really, really close between those guys. So any positions that you can get, any tenths of a second you can make up, is going to really help you out, at least in race number 1.
Several drivers are separated by just thousandths on the timing chart so far, or even just hundredths of a second. It's very close right now, and I would not have expected this actually at Snetterton. I would have expected the first few to be gone from the field, and maybe up to the top 10 or so of guys that have this place figured out, and then a larger gap, and that's just not the case. It seems like there might be a slight gap from 14th to 15th, from Liam Silkstone to Andy Jebsen, but that's about it. It seems like otherwise these guys are very, very close together, even in qualifying. Craig Schill, one of the amateur guys that now has a win on the season from back at Daytona. It was race number 2 that day. Almost got another one last week in the... Was it the Mazda race that he did it again, or was it the touring car race? Regardless, he has been turning the wick up recently, and that's through Murray. This will wrap up into the lap for him. Does he go any faster? He needs to beat a 209.164, and across the line Craig goes. It is slower by about a tenth.
Yeah, just about a tenth. You can see he's just ahead of Fiona Siddons, just ahead of 5 tenths of a second. Still plenty of time to maybe turn even just 2 more extra laps. So if he can just find an extra few tenths of a second, that really help out his challenge. As we cut now to the leader of the amateur class, Fiona Siddons has done a fantastic job all season, and it's just showing, Andrew, that consistency so far is the key.
I would definitely agree with that. That's definitely a fair way to put it. Fiona always just seems to kind of be there at the end. Might have issues earlier on in these races and in these race days, but just keeps the car as clean as she can and make sure she's around at the end. Douglas Stewart, your Pro-Am points leader, I think a lot of the same. Not flashing up the timing charts here for qualifying for Snetterton, but keeping the car nice and clean, getting laps in, and that's what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. You're only going to get in points if you finish those races, and he's definitely making sure he finishes his. Unfortunately, this lap time is going to be a 2:14, not improving. As Jason Cooper, 2:05. Now he flew on by, and well, look at it. He already gapped his teammates by quite a bit. But as you mentioned, Douglas Stewart doing a fantastic job to hold that Pro-Am lead so far. And well, if he keeps his car in one piece throughout 4 races, just minding his own business, picking his own battles, I'm pretty sure he could leave today as still the Pro-Am leader.
Adam Delmont, meanwhile, in the pro category, he's chasing some of his Excite teammates on the racetrack to get a good draft of this lap, and might actually improve a little bit. We're right on board with him for it. This is Augustini now, and somebody's around. That is... I believe that was Michael Leeson. Yes, that was Michael Leeson, the 921 that went around. But back up to Adam Delmont. Now down at a 6th in qualifying. I think Lee Holmes just tied him and went a little bit faster. The delta between the two is 0.000, so it's got to go down to the 10,000th place as Delmont works around Williams, and we'll get back onto the Bentley straight, try and go for another lap here. He's got to beat a 206.376. The Excite guys I think, have certainly been led this season by Delmont and McNally. Clibbins has been there a few times, and in fact is right behind them on the timing chart, but I don't think Clibbins has won a race yet, and certainly has not shown, I think, that dominating pace at any point yet this season. We'll see if that changes today.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, those guys have been leading their teams, but obviously anything can happen at one race or the other. Sometimes, you know, the driver is just waiting for their track to shine. You know, we always have that track that we just shine. We find an extra tenth of a second, maybe even a second out of nowhere just by driving. And, well, who knows? Maybe Clibbins' time will come, but obviously, as you mentioned, Delmont and McNally doing their work on their team.
I think that's a 1X.
Yeah, that's a 1X, and unfortunately, that's going to compromise his run down.
He was already slower anyways. Look at that, 10, 12 seconds slower. That's...
Yeah, maybe... Yeah, hopefully he can line up. He still has 10 seconds, so he already opened his lap time. So this is going to be his last-ditch effort to trying to improve. He's currently 6th place, as now we're looking at Lee Holmes trying... Well, he tied up his lap time, actually, and somehow is ahead. So I'm not quite sure if iRacing uses the real-life racing, where if you just, well, go faster, does the exact same lap time, the one that set it first is ahead, but looks like Lee Holmes has that advantage for now.
Lee came in and went faster than Delmont. It's going down to the 10,000th place in the sim, because it's a computer, it can do that. It can go down to the 100,000th place, but we don't get that, unfortunately. Even the guys in the sim don't get that, and actually Lee is going to bring it into the pit lane, so the best he will do is 5th. He could get knocked down to 6th, though, depending on what Delmont can do on this lap.
Absolutely. Delmont finding himself in the middle section of the racetrack, the infield section. He currently has 2 cars ahead of him, Andrew. That could hinder him or help
teammates.
him.
Those are
teammates. Yeah, so definitely not going to hinder them at all. And that slipstream down into the Bentley straightaway could be the difference between him starting in 6th place or above.
He's chasing the 594 of Liam Silkstone right now. There's one other teammate car ahead of him, and if I had to guess, I would say that's Nick Clibbins more than likely. And yes, it is Nick Clibbins well up the road. They go by a slower car. That, if anything, could be what hurts them, but they get by well before this crossover bridge. We'll see what he can do into, what is this, turn 9 and 10? That was very close to a cut. That's Nelson there. He'll come through the bomb hole and see if he can go any faster.
That's such an interesting couple of corners right there. You come down flat out from the straightaway and just have to brake mid-corner, just like you have to do this one. So this is turns number 12, lining up for turn number 13. As you can see, the car is still turning, you're still applying a little bit of power, and then you smash down into brake pedal, get the car turned in, hit the apex, don't run too wide. That could be the lap, Andrew.
That looked really good through turn, through Murray's there. I think that was turn 13. And across the line, is he going any faster? Oh my!
Barely. Oh my god.
No, he's slower.
Oh yeah, he's
just barely slower. That was very, very close. Good lap there from Delmont. Good effort, certainly, to see if he can go any faster in qualifying. The 5-star guys are still on the racetrack, though. Let's see what they can do as they ramp up their qualifying effort. Actually, they're just into riches now, so that is the end of their qualifying attempt. James Clark, he might have something, but without the draft, I don't think he'll go any faster. And actually, yeah, I think he's... well, on these long straights, the Miatas look like they're going slower, but I don't think they are. This isn't a Nelson here. He might have something. He's 19th on the board. He should be able to get faster than Andrew Jebsen, I would think, and maybe even Adam Holloway, so we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, final section of the racetrack now. That interesting couple of corners now heading to turn 12. As you can see, the car leaning on those suspensions. The tires are screaming, begging you to stop turning and applying power. Now you line up your car, heavy braking, turn in once again.
Oh,
it goes,
that might be okay.
Yes, might just be 10 seconds. He's going to cross the finish line, but I'm not quite sure. He might improve 207.3 to beat. No, unfortunately, just a tiny little bit slower, so he's going to be stuck with 19th place.
So that is qualifying then at Snetterton, and we, of course, only have the one qualifying session each race day with the British Sim Racers. That gives us the first lineup, and from there we do the spin and, well, you know, decide our invert that way for the day. Let's get a look at our field of, let's see, 32 cars when it's all said and done. Starting on pole, it's Jason Cooper. We've gotten used to that name. 5 wins now on the season. Lars Fischer starts to his left side. Starting third, it's Casper de Kort, so 3 teammates lock up the top 3 starting spots with Marcelo Pagnan in 4th. Lee Holmes ties up with Adam Delma in qualifying. They will start 5th and 6th. Starting 7th, it's one of the other Excite drivers in Adam McNally alongside his Excite teammate Nick Clibbins. It's the year 1 driver of Andy McEwen in 9th, and James Neve, teammate to Marcelo, no, not teammate to Marcelo Pagnon. James Neve, I actually don't recall the team that he's on, so I apologize there, but James Neve rolls off 10th.
11th place will go to Nathan Davies is in his 522, might just be the Pro-Am pole. Tom Griffiths in 12th place is going to be starting alongside him. Jamie Gulliford in the 599 is going to be starting in 13th place outside of him. Paul Donkin in 14th place. 15th will go to Liam Silkstone in the 594, and the 921 of Michael Lees was starting 16th place. 17th will go the ways of Adam Holloway in the 510, and the number 22 of Andrew Jepson in 18th place. Row number 10 will go the ways of James Clark in 20th, and the 513 of Glenn Humberstone.
12 more cars on this grid. Adam Mitchinson is back. There's a look at Douglas Stewart as well, starting 22nd. Starting 23rd, it's a Daytona race winner in Craig Schill. Then Fiona Siddons, the points leader in amateur. She rolls off 24th. Starting 25th at Snetterton, it's James Sharp. That is Marcelo Pagnon's teammate. Ben Williams is back. He is starting 26th in this race. Starting 27th, it's Thor Tullo. 28th starting spot goes to Michael Seal after an eventful week, certainly at Knock Hill. Starting from the 29th position, it's Kevin McGlone. Julian Schroer starts from 30th. 2 other cars, it's Mark Oliver and Colin Sampson. We are about to go green flag racing. Finally at Silverstone. Lights are out. Let's go racing. Already some 3 wide down to Wilson. They get it mostly sorted out. Some cars backing out, some cars sticking through. Nice and clean there through Wilson. The rest of the field, I think, is going to be mostly single file. Now we have a spin. Lee Holmes goes around from 5th.
Unfortunately, Lee Holmes, as you can see, another car taking on the grass. The top 4 is still in one piece and driving away from the rest of the pack. As you can see, drivers going side by side. We went 3 wide momentarily at one point into turns number 2. As you can see now, the top 4. Look at that formation, Andrew. That's something nice to see as the rest of the field comes in. We have even more battles as we're going to exit the infield section momentarily. This is just a beautiful racetrack. I love watching these Miatas just go on by.
Very narrow racetrack as well. Not a whole lot of racing room. It's easy to go off track, especially in a side-by-side battle. They work through, I believe it's Augie's there in 7, and through Williams now back onto the backstretch of the Bentley Straight. This is just a weird-looking racetrack to me. Now I'm used to the American kind of racetrack formula, a lot like Brands Hatch, where you use the elevation as one car. Oh, a couple of big hits back there. Jamie Gulliford with problems, and one other, I think Michael Lees potentially. James Neve slow as well. They work down the Bentley Straight. Nelson there for the first time, popping some curves, getting up on 2 wheels. And through the bomb hole, you can see Jason Cooper has definitely grabbed a pretty solid race lead at this point. They'll work through Coram for the first time. We'll let the entire field come on through your frame. Jonas Siddons and Douglas Stewart are way back here. They finally now go through the bomb hole as our leaders are going to come back onto the front stretch, the center straight, and wrap up lap number 1. And one more around. Liam Silkstone around in Murray's, and I'm trying to get a look at him here. He is a hard nut to crack as Liam Silkstone finally rejoining the course down there in 24th position.
Unfortunately for him, not a great lap 1. What a great lap 1 it was for these 3 teammates. As you can see them nearly breaking away from the field. Marcelo Pagnon still sticking with them. Cooper, albeit Andrew, 7/10 of a second clear already in lap number 1. That's a fantastic gap to have. As we cut to Nathan Davies, he was a Pro-Am leader. He's still a Pro-Am leader in 9th place. Just lost the position to Nick Clibbins. Trying to get it back, maybe. No, not quite. So he's going to stick to the infield section in 9th place. Just barely ahead, a few seconds ahead of Paul Donkin.
Tom Griffiths will have a look now. Will be Agostini next for these guys. Kind of a hairpin that doesn't quite wrap up to a full 180. Gonna get slow right down on the curbing there and try not to catch the grass like Davies did, but thankfully he hangs on to the race car. Paul Donkin has company from Andrew Jebson, a newcomer to the series, right behind. And other battles further back. Glenn Humberstone off the racetrack. This will go to Hamilton.
He just barely got his car straightened up. Was luckily still on the tarmac, as you can see, losing a little bit of time. These corners just, they lead from one to another, and unfortunately for him, as soon as you make a mistake, you're going to be losing time on that holding field section. Luckily, he retains that position for the time being, and well, can still keep that car going in the correct line. As you can see now, teammates, looks like Andrew, going side by side.
And trying to work on up to Nathan Davies, actually, as Clibbins gives a couple of spots up, potentially from a slowdown. So now Griffith still has a look at that 522 car. And that would be for 7th overall in the race now as the field works back through the bomb hole. The top 10 wrapped up by Paul Donkin. You can see newcomer Andy Jebsen there. The 7 of James Neve, Adam Holloway 13th. That's kind of your lead group, I think, split up maybe right after James Clark. There's a nice little gap to Craig Schill, who's got company now from Ben Williams. This could be fun.
This could be fun. I'm pretty sure this will be fun. These two are going to battle, as now they're going to enter the Santa straight away, see who's going to get a better exit. It looks like the number 75 got a way better exit on the out of the final corner. He's already alongside. He's going to be looking to the outside. That's going to be interesting move if he can pull off. Who's going to be braver down into turn 1? That's going to be a slight braking zone, and then you have to flick the car in. Who's going to come out on top? They're going to go side by side.
Close. That was close in Riches. Williams said, I'm taking this corner. Craig Schill said, oh, okay, maybe then I'll give it to you. Michael Lee's going to have a look on Craig Schill. To Wilson, has got the spot. And, oh, here comes Adam Mitchinson right behind as they all kind of track out a little bit wide out of the corner. You got Michael Seal right behind. How do you navigate this? I mean, this is Accu Racing for about 20th spot, and you want to battle, you want to race for these positions, but you also have to be careful. It's actually, let's hold up, because we've got a position change up front. Marcelo Pagnan, Casper DeCourt, they swap positions in Agostini, and now Casper gets right back in front of Marcelo, and this could be a nice little battle to turn 7.
Absolutely. As you can see, Casper DeCourt got a kind of compromised line. He's going to have one more compromised line as Marcelo Pagnan doing everything he can to try and get past the number 5. As you can see, Adam Talmon closing in on them. These battles, while Casper DeCourt is just helping his teammates, Marcel is quite struggling now, goes off the track, and that's going to allow the number 77 to maybe line up a move at the end of the Bentley straightaway. Could we see the number 77 going down the inside? Maybe. You can see Marcelo Pagnan on the middle of the road. He's going to retain that position. Yes, he does. But this now is a 3-car battle for 3rd place.
And something that I think deserves some talking about with Marcelo Pagnan and James... was it James Sharp? Yes, in the 33 car. Those two race in this series for SRC, I believe it is. SRC Movano Racing. And anytime you have Movano in that team name, I don't know if you know about Movano a little bit in iRacing especially. Anytime Movano is involved in a team, they're going to be good. And it explains why Marcelo Pagnan has come into this series a bit later in the season and has really, I think, kept all of these drivers honest. Same with James Sharp, who grabbed a win way back at Donington Park. These two are really, really good. To go up against one of the leading teams in iRacing like that tends to populate some of those top split races, be it endurance races or otherwise, or even second split, that's a good team. So to go toe-to-toe with any drivers under that umbrella has got to feel pretty nice.
Absolutely. As soon as I learned that Marcelo Pagnan was driving under the name of Mivana, I was like, wow. So, yeah, if you know, I guess you can just put it that way. Mivana is one of the biggest teams on iRacing, one of the strongest one as well. So, it's a really big deal and explains where the pace comes from. Being, as you mentioned, under that umbrella and just battling with the top guys that have been here for ages, just shows the quality and performance of the team and its drivers.
Pass here, Griffiths goes on by McEwen just behind those guys that we were just talking about. And now Nathan Davies will have a chance to look at McEwen potentially. The year 1 number 4 heading the wrong direction as James Neve has gone around. Oh boy, that is no man's land in the middle of the race course.
Absolutely, that's going to be in the infield section, as you can see. There you go.
That's going to be a course cut because I think he's over to where that would... That's dangerous for James Neve. That could be a course cut. He's going to rejoin an Augie's. And almost back off. I've never seen a car surrounded by so much green before. That was not where that car should have been.
Absolutely not. Maybe, and depending on how much course he cut, that slowdown penalty could be absolutely massive. Looks like he didn't get one, though. He's still on race pace.
It could have been a straight to a black flag. Usually when you straight up cut the course like that, may have been, it tends to just give you a black flag and ask you to come to the pit lane, so we'll have to keep our eyes on this number 7 car. He rejoins in 22nd, which isn't too bad all things considered if he's able to hold that position. He's just behind Thortillo and can easily move up into the top 20 and into a good invert position, so to, you know, save some points, save some face here, and get a good invert would be good.
Absolutely, as you mentioned, you know, just getting a few positions extra to find himself within the top 20 could be really helpful for the later races. As now we're gonna take a look if he gets a penalty. No, so yeah, maybe just got lucky this time by.
Interesting. So he continues on, following Thortillo. Let's go up front, or at least further forwards, as Seal takes a look to the inside of Craig Schill, and unfortunately for Craig, a good qualifying effort, but when it comes to the race, he is not holding up as nicely as he would have wanted. This to Wilson. Seal has the inside line, and that's that pass made as Adam Mitchinson has a look. This is actually a really good battle in amateur. Is this for the lead? No. Michael Leese has taken off with their class lead, but it's close.
Yeah, this is for second place if I'm not mistaken. This is really close. This could really help each one of those drivers for points paying positions as high as they can finish. And obviously for bragging rights as well, Andrew. Don't you want to brag to your competitors that you finished ahead of them? They were able to hold them off. So this is a really important battles for more than one reason.
James Sharp back here as well. You can see Thortillo going off track, and that opens the door for James Neve. Michael Steele comes around Hamilton, and oh, Sharp has a look to the left side. That was a drastic move there to maybe have a look on Adam Mitchinson. Settles back in behind and will have a good drafting opportunity on the Bentley straight if he sets this up right. That's exactly what he'll at least attempt to do. Glenn Humberstone is in this conversation as well, one of our Pro-Am competitors. And oh, Craig Schill went off the racetrack. That opens the door big time for Adam Mitchinson before we get to the end of the straight here.
You can see now nearly going 3 wide, almost. As you can see, a few drivers going side by side. This is a really interesting corner to overtake. Everybody makes it through safely because where do you go, Andrew? Do you just allow the inside line for the first part and get the inside line for the second, or do you just invert? You know, what do you defend in that position? That's a really interesting corner. As you can see, even more battlings as we head into turns 12 after the bomb hole. As you can see, drivers going side by side. This is also a really interesting one, but looks like we're just going to maintain position for the time being.
That was very odd for Coram there, but it works out for Adam Mitchinson. He took the outside line in a corner that you don't usually want to take the outside line. It's a carousel. Think about Road America. Think about Watkins Glen. You always want to try and be as low on the racetrack as you can be while still carrying speed. And, you know, at Watkins Glen, you have the banking, the natural banking in that bowl corner to help you out. At Road America, it's flat, so you want to be right on the bottom, much like here at Snetterton through Coram. And somehow that worked out. I'm surprised that worked out for Adam Mitchinson. We'll see if he can hang on to that spot. But let's go back around the field a little bit. Back way up to the front of the field, Jason Cooper has gapped his teammates by 1.5 seconds, but it's close then for second place. Lars Fischer, Casper DeCourt, pretty darn close. And I think Lars is actually backing up a little bit to this train of cars. There's 4 of them in a row. Second through 5th position, it's Fischer, DeCourt, Pagnon, and Delmont.
Yeah, this is a really interesting battle for the lead. We just saw Marcelo Pagano going fastest twice. So he right now is the fastest car of the race course. And Andrew, he's behind all this traffic. He's behind 2 teammates. So if he can get past those 2, it's going to be interesting to see how much pace he has on race situation. Obviously not on qualifying, but he is really flying. But unfortunately, he cannot find a way through Casper DeCourt, who's doing a fantastic job not only to help his teammates, but maintain 3rd place.
Just watching on board here with Adam Delmont. This is going to be close between these guys. Oh, you can see how they back up to one another through Nelson there. Lars Fischer still leading this train. Casper DeCourt in the second, well, the 3rd position, but the second spot of this foursome as they work through Coram now.
Could we see a move down into turns 13? As you can see, number 5 maybe lining up. Not quite. I don't think he'll make a move. Oh, only his teammate as Marcelo nearly came into the back of him. Also Adam Delmont. They're going to stick in positions, but we could maybe see a switch for positions on turn number 1. Not quite, but it's extremely close, Andrew, and this might be the second last lap.
Indeed it is. We are expecting 8 laps in each race today. I think that will hold true likely for Thursday with the touring cars. 8 laps per race today, and we are now on lap 7. Andy McEwen here with a battle with Nathan Davies. This is for 7th on the racetrack. as Douglas Stewart and Colin Sansom actually a good battle here to Murray's. And they will swap positions. Stewart now on the left side, Sansom outside, and this is right in front of points leader, at least amateur points leader, 20th overall, Fiona Siddons, as they work down the center straight. This could be interesting as they go to Riches. This is well back in the field, and we will only work our way forward from here. You can see Stewart going to defend on the inside. Fiona thought about going up the left, now tries to dive to the inside of Sansom. Oh, pops the curbing there in Riches, and maybe a chance here into Wilson for her to get alongside of that year one car. No, it's not going to work out. So let's move up the racetrack then, move up the field. Here's Thortillo battling with Craig Schill. This will be into Agostini. Tillo in the 44 car. And oh, big hit there. Gets completely run through by Liam Silkstone.
Silkstone absolutely missed his breaking point and absolutely rammed the number 44.
And he's giving it
Looks
up.
like he's gonna
good move there.
There we go. So he's gonna wait up, recognize his mistake, allow the number 44 driver of Thortulo to get past him. Unfortunately, obviously, that's gonna hurt Thortulo as he was battling as well. Fiona Siddons as well, finding himself on the grass.
Fiona's off there. Julian Schroer will catch her. Let's move back up through the field, though. This is up to about 15th position. Michael Lease, Ben Williams, and some others battling into this. This is one of the hardest corners for me to get down here at Snetterton. Through Nelson now, as we are about to get the white flag up ahead. Here we go. Through Murray's. This is the battle right behind Casper DeCourt, hanging on as, Marcelo Pagnon wants that right side, and he has got it. This will go to the white flag now across the start-finish line.
Oh, even more cars going a little bit wider, as you can see now. We're going to have a battle for third place. Marcelo is going to have the inside down into turn one. He's going to probably get a position most likely. Oh, they're going to make contact.
Delmont has a look to the inside for Riches. Now sits behind him. They both keep it on the racetrack. Good stuff.
Good stuff. Banging mirrors. Look at that door closing. Look at the gap. You could not fit a fly or a piece of paper between them. Adam Delmont trying to get a piece of the action, trying to get past the number 5. Couldn't really make it between their runs down to turns 2 and 3. Looked like Marcelo Pagano found his way. Maybe will cement his way into third place. What a racing this is, Andrew. This is fantastic.
Problems for Andy McEwen. I think he has just dropped out of the race. I think it's connection related as well. Delmont up the inside for Agostini. Just gets their contact though, and Casper's around.
Casper's around. He's going to be losing a lot of positions. He's not really in a spot to turn around. Can he pop that clutch? Maybe. Oh, he's just losing so much time. He's already down into 10th place. Humberstone
also had a problem this lap. And Andy's back. Andy McEwen is back in the field. Dropped out for a moment. Nathan Davies battling with him now to Augie's. Oh boy. What a last lap. A lot of drama here in the closing stages. Andy Jebson leading a train of cars. Look at these guys. Actually, no, he's second in this train of cars. Casper DeCourt now leads it, followed up by Adam Holloway, then Andy Jebson, and James Clark, Ben Williams, Michael Lease. This kind of mid-group from about 10th on through 15th position. Liam Silkstone and Thortillo, they're going back at it, but let's go back up front. This is a good fight. Nathan Davies, Andy McEwen into Nelson there. Davies gets the spot, and that means the leaders are close. This is through Coram for the final time. Jason Cooper leading the way still by a 1.5 seconds over Lars Fischer. He has been able to just cruise along to an easy race win, at least by comparison. This will be number 6 on the season for the number 1 car. And across the line, he seals the deal, win number 6 on the season.
Absolutely fantastic way to open up the day. As you can see, celebrating with his pit crew. Fischer is going to finish 2nd place. Marcelo Pagano in 3rd place. Adam Delmont in 4th. Looks like Nathan Davies is going to be finished off in 6th place, ahead of just behind Tom Griffiths, ahead of Andy McEwen. Nick Klibbins in 8th place. Paul Dunking is going to come across the line 9th. And as you can see, that final few battles, Andrew, for the overall top 10.
So the field comes on through and wraps up race number 1 at Snetterton. Casper DeCourt, in case you're curious, does finish 10th after all of that. Really good first race of the day. A lot of action, a lot of drama, certainly. Fiona Siddons, it looks like, will hang on to the 25th spot over Julian Schroer, which means 26 cars will be eligible for this invert today. Looks like Mark Oliver never started this race. He will go down as 11 laps down in an 8-lap race. I don't know how you manage that, but he has found a way, as we will go ahead and fire up the spinning wheel for the first time in the afternoon. JP, you'll notice some new values in there. We've changed things around a little bit, and I think this will spice things up a little bit. Got an 18 on there, a 14, a couple of 17s, a couple of 11s, a 21, and the first invert of the day is 14, a number I don't think we've had yet. Adjacent perfectly to 18. Those are the only, well, those are two of the only three even values on this wheel now. We've added some even values, so it's not always odds, and I think I like that. I like that variety.
It definitely makes it interesting, and I guess visually pleasing as well. But 14 drivers it is, Andrew. That's gonna be interesting. I like that number. I like 14, and obviously this whole first page is going to be fixed. That one's going to be switched up. Jason Cooper is going to be starting 14th place. Lars Fischer finishes in 2nd place. Marcelo Pagano finishes in 3rd place. Good race for him, passing Casper de Cordo on final lap. Adam Delmont as well, passing Casper to finish 4th place. Tom Griffiths in 5th. Nathan Davies is going to win the Pro-Am class in 6th place. Andrew McEwen in 7th place. Nick Clibbins in 8th. Paul Donk in 2nd place in the Pro-Am class, 9th place overall. And Casper de Cordo entered on the final lap in 3rd place. Is going to finish in, unfortunately, in 10th.
Finishing in the 11th position for race number 1 is Adam Holloway, which means he will start from the 4th spot as Andy Jebsen, James Clark, and Ben Williams will start just ahead of him. So Ben Williams will get the pole for race number 2. James Clark will start from 2nd, and Andy Jebsen will start from 3rd. And it's Michael Lees who just misses out with the amateur win. How many times have we said that, or something close to it? The amateur winner, one position shy of the invert. It seems more often than not. Michael Seal there in 16th, James Sharp 17th, James Neve 18th, then Craig Schill and Thortillo wrap up your top 20.
21st place will go to Liam Silkstone, just ahead of Adam Machinson. Douglas Stewart in 23rd place. Colin Sansom is going to be finished off in 24th. 25th place will go the ways of Fiona Siddons, ahead of Julian Schroer in 26th. 27th place will go to Glenn Humberstone. Lee Holmes finishing in 28th. Adam McNally in 29th. And, well, 30th place will go to Jamie Gulliford, 8 laps down.
It's interesting to me that this omits Kevin McGlone from the first page, and it puts McGlone here in 31st. That's not what the timing sheet says, but I'm sure these will be sorted out by admins, and they will have the right count. Mark Oliver will be listed as 32nd, having not turned a lap in today's first race of the afternoon. And with that, well, first, before we go anywhere, I actually want to invite everybody to stick around for just a moment, especially if you usually go for a tea break or a crumpet break. I'm sorry, I'll stop the generalizations now. If you go and get snacks between these races, hang on for just a moment, because we have a pretty cool feature to go ahead and kind of tease you with a little bit between these races. If you look at the upcoming broadcast screen, we've got Daytona, which has been at its usual spot, it feels like, for Tuesday evenings with the Nork iRacing series, but it's the Norktona 500, and with the Norktona 500 this evening, Nork is actually giving us a chance to debut the NASCAR Next Gen car on one of our broadcasts. We've never had the Next Gen car. It's actually never raced yet. It's had a few tests throughout the country, and other iRacing leagues have utilized it between its release earlier in 2021 and now, but we have not had a Next Gen broadcast yet on Pit Stop TV, and this is our first opportunity to do so. And earlier today, we put together a pretty cool, I think, teaser of what you could expect with that Next Gen car and sort of the features that are brand new to it and how it looks a bit different from cars of the past. So when you look at this upcoming broadcast screen later on in the day as well, keep that in mind about tonight's race. I think it's one that you'll definitely want to tune into for more reasons than just the Nork iRacing series, and we have something pretty cool about that coming up. Anyways, we will take a step aside. We'll be right back to you with race number 2 in round number 6 of BSR MX-5s.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome back to the virtual Snetterton circuit, and this time, JP, I can say that the B-roll matches the weather in the sim, and that is always pretty pleasant. To go from those overcast skies to sunny skies that we're going to see here in just one moment, it's always a nice feeling. It's always nice, especially when we're in kind of this this winter time, obviously in the Northern Hemisphere. It's nice to get a reminder of what sunny weather is like, although I'm sure down in Brazil you might have a few different opinions right now.
Oh yeah, I would love some of that British weather, just, you know, a few clouds, a few rain, just a colder weather, because right now it's full on blue skies, really hot day, but this one down on my screen is absolutely wonderful, and I'm pretty sure the drivers will enjoy it a lot as well.
Yeah, it's going to bring tire temps back up into, I think, normal ranges. Might even get a little bit warm out there for some of these guys. Let's check the weather, and that track temp is actually a bit more northward, if you will, than we usually see. So tire temps could actually be pretty hot in this race. A 98-degree Fahrenheit track temp, that's toasty.
Yeah, that's quite hot actually. And if you recall to Brands Hatch Indy, we had a few problems with tire temperatures. Albeit this is a longer racetrack, Andrew, those long straightaways could be the salvation to these drivers. You know, those tires just cooling off on the straightaways. That could be the difference between today and, well, obviously 30-odd cars going around, drifting around Snetterton.
Yeah, we do have a lot of mechanical grip corners, and these cars don't have any downforce devices, aero devices, if you will. So, yeah, they're relying all on the mechanical grip that is put down on the racetrack. It's going to be interesting as we get a look at the, I think, pretty picturesque Snetterton circuit, honestly. It's just a flat piece of land. It used to be a Royal Air Force, and then later on a United States Air Force base, and I think it looks pretty good.
It looks fantastic, and the race on race number 1 is absolutely fantastic, so I cannot wait to see what's in store for us tonight on this second race, because, well, the track is fantastic, the drivers are fantastic, the cars are fantastic. It's a perfect recipe.
That it is, and the field is getting ready. Ben Williams will start this race on pole. We saw James Clark will join him there. Adam Holloway is going to start from 4th. We're going to have a pretty good, I think, reorder of the positions here as we get ready for race number 2 today. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes, mixing the field around a little bit, getting an idea of how these guys are going to race into these first couple of laps of this second race of the day. Now that we've seen some Snetterton racing, I think we know a bit more of what to expect as we race down to Riches for the first time, then through Wilson and Palmer for the first three corners. I'm excited to see how this goes. Waiting on a couple of drivers, it looks like, further on in the back of the field to grid up and get ready to go racing for race number 2. And once they do so, we'll be off to the races, literally and figuratively. We've got about 30 cars once again, just waiting on, I want to say, oh, well, there we go. I was going to say about 1 car, but there we go. We have all 30 or so gridded up, ready to go. Red lights on, green lights on the way, and green flag for race 2 at Snetterton. Oh, Ben Williams already sideways out of turn 1. 2 cars started from the pit lane. I believe those were Thor Tullo and Liam Silkstone as the field works through Wilson.
As you can see, this is a much cleaner, so it looks like we're not going to have any contact between cars, at least on turns 2 and 3.
Oh, there was contact in Wilson, just no crashes yet.
Oh, there we go. So I stand corrected. As you can see, a few extra drivers going side by side. Might see a few moves down into turn 4. As you can see, a few drivers getting loose, actually. Oh, he nearly contact on the back end of the grid right there, but looks like, so far, a very clean start.
A good look at the field here. So work into Hamilton now. This is just a really cool racetrack, I think, to try and get a bearing on as a whole field, especially in these opening laps.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot win a race on lap number 1, but you can certainly lose it. A few drivers taking extra care to make sure they finish this lap, and obviously the race, as you can see, most drivers looks like we may have settled for it. Oh, as it looks like 3rd place got a little bit squiggly on next, and it looks like Casper might make a move. Oh, as someone just nearly went to the barrier.
That was Michael Leese. Well out of control on the back stretch as the rest of the field goes to Nelson now. It's Brundle first, and oh my goodness. This is going to be good racing today. And on Thursday, it's a shot then from Holloway to Jebsen there for 4th spot is... Who is that? Casper DeCourt already in the mix of things? Yes, Casper's already ahead of a couple of cars.
Yeah, he started in 4th place, if I'm not mistaken, and he's
No,
already
further back
up
than
into
that. He started from
finished
5th.
10th. Oh, there you go. So 5th place. He's already up to 2nd, looks like it. And, well, he only has 1 car between him and the lead. He was the 3rd fastest car in qualifying, so he's in a really good position right now.
Looks like no spins aside from maybe Nick Clibbins, and that's if he even started the race. Look at the field race by. Back up front, out of riches, here we go, side by side, a couple of rows deep. This will go down to Wilson. That's Paul Donkin now looking at the inside, looks to the inside of James Clark. Griffith's there 3 wide on the outside. Jason Cooper down around the curbing on the bottom. Oh boy, this is going to be fun, I think, through Palmer. This could be a little sketchy.
As you can see, Paul Donkin forced to the outside. The number 20 of James Clark trying to get a position. Looks like he will get that position. That'll allow Cooper to maybe get a run over the 529. No, they're still side by side. Donkin and Clark are still side by side. They're going to go deep into turns number
Jason
4.
Cooper!
Oh, he spun. Oh, he gets corrected and then collected.
A lot of contact there. James Sharp and Marcelo Pagnan join in on the fun, and they get a little bit of damage out of that. But everybody continues racing somehow, some way. Wow. Lars Fischer got on by his teammate through all of that. And Michael Seal gets a look there from Delmont. That was close through Augie. As now it'll be Williams and back up on to the Bentley straight. Delmont has that look to the inside of Seal. Maybe going to take that spot away potentially. Seal out wide. And this is for 14th, if you can believe it.
Yeah, way back in the grid, nearly the second half, as you can see, the number 7 of James Neve trying to get a position. Looks like he's not going to be helping Adam Delmont. He's going to try to find a way between those two. Looks like he's not going to come. As you can see, Delmont on the outside. He's going to have the inside up for Nelson. Can he get that position? They went side by side through it, Andrew. I cannot believe it.
This is good stuff. Again, for 14th position between these two. Delmont and Seal battling. There's also Cooper and Sharp battling up here. Cooper gets in front of Sharp, and you can see that that wing mirror hanging off on that one car. That's from all of that contact back in Agostini on this lap. Further up, 3rd and 4th, it's Andy McEwen and Andy Jebsen. So Andrew, Andy, and look at this. Casper DeCourt already hounding Ben Williams for our race lead.
Fastest lap of the race. That is exactly what he wants to see as he's chasing the number 75 of Williams down into turn number 2. As you can see, just closing in lap after lap, corner after corner. Casper DeCourt is on a mission right now to redeem himself after finishing 10th place on race number 1. The question is, Andrew, when will he make that move? 3/4 of a second, and he's definitely applying a lot of pressure. Will Williams crack under that pressure? I don't think we have seen that. We've seen that too many times this season so far.
If you're Casper DeCourt, you especially want to grab this win in this second race because of what happened in race number 1 with all that contact that sorted him out well deep in the field. There's some contact. Meanwhile, further back, look at these guys coming up out of Agostini side by side for a couple of teammates, Lars Fischer and Jason Cooper as they follow Paul Donkin. Cooper gets back in behind Lars through Hamilton. And Lee Holmes has a problem. He's headed backwards quickly.
And he's already down into 22nd place. Might make that 23rd. Looks like he's just going to be retaining that position for now. So unfortunately, a small mistake for him on the infield section costs a lot of position, especially how close all these guys are, Andrew. There's absolutely no room for errors throughout the race. As you can see now, Casper DeCourt maybe lining up a move on the outside of Ben Williams. Can he make it work down into, well, down up into
That's
Nelson?
Brundle
Down
and
into,
now, oh, right there. That might have been a little bit of contact.
yeah, maybe, but is there any damage to any car?
No, keep racing.
So just keep on racing. Casper DeCourt maybe lining up a move down into turns 13 right now. Difficult to make a run. As you can see now, Ben Williams opening up a gap a little bit, opening up the entry of the corner to, as you can see, straight line, the braking zone. The number 24 kind of dips a wheel into the grass, gets a bit of the curb. That's going to hurt him.
He's still in the lead for now, but Casper DeCourt's going to be there. And Casper is going to go left and try and take this lead. Lap number 3 is wrapped up, and Casper is alongside. We race into lap 4 to riches now. Casper's got the position, but they stay side by side. Williams doesn't want to give it up. Oh, all over the curving. They both get sideways.
They both drift out of turn number 1. Looks like Williams will have the inside into turn number 2. He's going to retain that lead for now. Casper Decor cannot find a way past the number 75, and that's allowing McEwen to close on them, Andrew. The gap is down to 2 seconds right now.
Yeah, if you're Andy McEwen, you want this to continue on the rest of the race, just not with you in it. Out of Palmer there. Maybe a run for Casper Decourt again. Williams is going to fade over to the left side of the racetrack and defend. Into Agostini. Casper Decourt tries to stick around the outside. Now going to look inside. A crossover there. Does he get it? Not quite yet. But for Hamilton, no. He's going to slot back in behind Williams. Smart racing here out of one of the best.
Exactly, smart racing, trying to wait until maybe the straightaway. No, he's going to come earlier. No, just to look. So he's just getting into the head of the number of Ben Williams, just trying to get into his head, force him into a mistake to make that pass easier. The gap to third place is really coming down to 1.2 now. So within that infield section, 0.7 of a second were lost. As you can see now, once again, down into the back straightaway, the mentally straight. Where will the number 5 go? He's going to go down to the inside. Williams on the outside. Will this change anything? Casper Decourt already ahead, and he might just have the lead right now.
Easy pass there on the straightaway, although he was a little bit squirrely into Nelson, but that sorts that out, and now Andy McEwen is within about a second of Ben Williams. If these were Formula 1 cars, he would almost have DRS, but not quite. And now he would be within that detection zone. I mean, this is just crazy stuff up front. Let's go further back and see some of the battles further back in this field. Look at that line of cars through Coram. Watching Nathan Davies defend from Tom Griffiths. This is down to Murray's. Griffiths well wide there, using all of the racetrack and then some. Oh, this is going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. That's going to hurt a little bit of his exit. As you can see, losing a little bit of contact with Nathan Davies, the number 522. And, well, that's just going to allow maybe the positions. As you can see, the number 20 of James Clark trying to close in on him. Not too close. Tom Griffiths trying to make his way past Davies. Couldn't really get in. And Jepson, Andrew, as well, doing a fantastic job. As you can see now, Delmont. Oh, someone just closed the door quite.
Oh, he's going to hit Duncan and... He hits Duncan and Holloway in the same corner. Moves them both out of the way. They keep racing. No spin. Michael Steele has to lift for him. This is back at about the 12th position. Duncan is anyways. Holloway stays on the inside of Steele and keeps his spot. Now sideways off of the grass there on the inside of Palmer and gives that spot up. This is for 14th and 15th between Holloway and Steele. Steele now on the inside for Agostini. Oh, Holloway kind of bled over a little bit. Bit of a Pruitt fade. Keeps the position.
Keeps the position, gets a little bit of the bump mid-corner, but looks like that's going to be all she wrote for the time being. What racing this is, Andrew. This is absolutely fantastic. Still trying to find any way possible to try and get past, but looks like not going to be close enough this time. But as you can see, Dalmon maybe lining up a move. Donkin is going to be forced to the outside, and that just might be it. There we go. So the move is done, but, well, he's going to have a compromise line on exit.
Look at these three now. Very, very close. Donkin already on his back foot. Holloway looks left, looks right, looks maybe left again. They sit in a line. Where do they go? Into Brundle. You're going to have Seal up the inside potentially of Holloway. No, he sticks back behind. Look at these guys. Those side by side are Griffiths and Jebson. That was through Nelson. Now they'll go to the bomb hole 2 by 2. Griffiths going to have that spot.
Jepson's going to be forced. He's going to have to lose a lot of time. Oh, Paul Donkin as well. Looks like he made a little bit of contact on the exit of Nelson. Can he rejoin safely? Yes, he can. But that car doesn't look too damaged, actually. The suspension looks pointing in the right direction. So just losing a little bit of time.
Now into Murray's for some of our leaders and wrapping up this lap. Actually, back onto the center straight. Look at this battle. This is second place. Williams defending for McEwen. McEwen gets squeezed off there. Can't do anything into Riches. We'll have to look right. This will be for Wilson if he can set something up, and he's there on the inside of the corner. Oh, wow. That was another Pruitt fade there from Ben Williams. You've got to be so careful of doing that, and that's why, Ben Williams well wide.
Applying a lot of pressure, losing a little bit of traction on exit. Is going to be forced to the outside into turn 3. Can they go side by side on it? Yes, they can.
Sideways.
The number 4 gets a position on the outside. That was absolutely beautiful, and as you mentioned, Williams sideways mid-corner.
This will be a good look into Agostini, maybe. McEwen wide in the corner. Here comes Williams up the inside to take that spot back, maybe. at least try to, and this will be to Williams. This will be an easy pass, or Hamilton rather, an easy pass for Williams to get that spot back. Yes, he does. Second and third changing hands here late in race number 2 through Augie's. And McEwen is going to have to use the Bentley straight if he's going to do anything with him. This is a nice little battle here as well. Jason Cooper has caught Tom Griffiths and Nathan Davies as the whole line of cars line up behind him.
As you mentioned, whole line of cars, as you can see, they're probably going to have 2 extra laps to run. Well, 2 counting this one actually, so this might just be, well, one of the last ditch efforts that you can have to maybe get a free position. As you can see now, Tom Griffiths may have just gotten a position over Nathan
contact
Davies.
ahead. McEwen and Williams tangle, and Williams is stopped out of the corner of Nelson, and this is a big problem for these guys. They now get rolling. I'd imagine that will come back under review later in the week. Williams sorts back into 7th. McEwen takes 2nd. That's likely not going to sit well. Williams was already pretty aggressive in this race. I'd imagine it's only going to go up from there. There's more battling behind these guys as Clark was put on the outside of Coram. And Douglas Stewart is heading the wrong direction. He's slow out of Nelson, now through the bomb hole, and falls back to 25th position. Let's check in on your Pro-Am race leader, and that is going to be Nathan Davies, all the way up in 4th overall, battling with Tom Griffith. He's got Jason Cooper just behind. This will be to Riches. Cooper's going to look to the inside. No move there yet, but Cooper is all over the grass and now sorts that out. Your amateur leader is once again Michael Leese, and this is a great battle with he and Lee Holmes, and almost contact there as Holloway follows.
Almost contacted down into turn 1. As you can see, this is a fantastic 3-car battle for position. As you mentioned, they're going to go side by side, well, down into turn number 2. The 510 is going to make contact.
Lee's kind of forced that. He left just enough room, and Holloway had to go onto the curbing there to try and make that move happen. Craig Schill is just behind, and Holloway defends very stiffly over this 982. This is 1st and 2nd in amateur. The 921 and 982 that we're on board with now, the car in between them is Adam Holloway, a Pro-Am driver. If Schill can get him here in Agostini, not quite yet, but if Schill can pass that 510, he's racing for a win.
He's racing for a win, and that win could be very, very important for his point standings. This might just be the final lap, so this could be the final time to get that position, Andrew. And, I mean, he's definitely going to go for it if the opportunity comes, but he really needs to close the gap to well, the driver ahead of him to maybe overtake him and get a shot at that amateur win.
We should get 1 lap to go in a moment, but it may be the race end in a moment. 30 seconds to go in the race, and our leader is through Nelson now. This will be very close. No, this will be it. Final lap. This is it. Time has just expired. Final lap, presented by Tucson Sound Art. Casper to Court leading the field. Ben Williams has more trouble. He's around in Nelson again. A lot more damage this time. I can only imagine what's just gone wrong. Gets passed up by more cars. Casper to Court, though, through Murray's. He is going to win race number 2. And 5-Star Motorsport is staying perfect on the day. First, Jason Cooper. Now, Casper to Court.
Absolutely fantastic job from him. Had to work from 5th place, but got the job well done. Andy McEwen is going to be finished off in 3rd place ahead of Tom Griffiths. Nathan Davies is going to be winning his class in an impressive 4th place finish for the Pro-Am driver. Absolutely fantastic. Jason Cooper comes home in 5th place. Jebson, Fisher, Sharp, Paganum, and Delmont are our top 10.
And can you believe, as one car comes across, I think that was Donkin sideways? Yeah, it was. Can you believe that this is only Casper's 2nd win on the season?
That's insane to think about.
Yeah, it is. We've talked about him so much. We've said Casper to Court so often this season, and that is only the 2nd time that he has gone to victory lane. Kevin McGlone comes across the line, wraps up that race for himself, and Colin Sansom is well back here. He is only through, where is he right now? This is well early in the lap. That's Augie's. He's only into Williams now. He's not going to gain any spots. The final car ahead of him has already finished this race. He is 28th, and we will let him finish this race before we take our invert. So position 28 for Colin Sansom. I can only imagine what happened off the start. He is ahead of Mark Oliver, Glenn Humberstone, Julian Schroer, and Nick Klibbins in this race, and will finish well ahead of each of them. Oliver 1 lap down, Humberstone 5 laps down, Schroer 6 laps down, and Clibbin 7 laps down. And that race only went the distance of 7 laps. That proves how close it is to being a 7-lap race or an 8-lap race as Sansom works around Coram. A good opportunity to see how it is to get a lap around here at Snetterton. Through Murray's now, very odd couple of corners, very fun couple of corners if you do it just right, and he will wrap up his race.
Finalizing, that was a great shot actually, and overall the second sector of the final part of the racetrack, just how tricky it is. And there you go, he crosses the line, and well, that was pretty much half a lap around Snetterton. Just so much fun yet so tricky.
Let's go ahead and fire up the spinning wheel. And the invert after race number 2, it was 14 after race number 1. The invert after race number 2 is going to be different. Is it a full invert or is it 12? It's a full invert. So Colin, oh, maybe not.
Oh.
I don't know which one it is.
I don't either. That's exactly on the pixel.
Results here will say the website tells us it is a full invert. That is very close.
I mean, that's a pixel at best.
At best. That is absolutely set up to begin the spin. That is... wow. That's probability at its finest, because any position on this wheel is technically possible, but you don't see right on the line very often, so it is, by the website, a full invert. But I wouldn't blame you if visually you saw 12 there. I wouldn't blame you either way. The website, though, says full. That will invert all the way back to 28th position. So from 14, we've doubled it to 28. That's pretty impressive.
Absolutely impressive. And now we have the unofficial results. This could change, but Casper DeCord is going to be finishing 4 seconds ahead of Andrew McEwen. And unfortunately for him, Andrew, he's going to be starting way back. Andrew McEwen, as I mentioned, 2nd place. Tom Griffiths, 3rd. Nathan Davis is going to be winning Pro-Am in 4th place ahead of Jason Cooper. Andrew Jebsen, 6th place overall. Lars Fisher in 7th. James Sharp is going to be finished off in 8th place ahead of Marcelo Paganum and Adam Delmon in 10th place.
Finishing 11th in race number 2, it's James Clark, then Adam McNally in 12th, Michael Seal 13th, James Neve 14th. You go on back, you find Lee Holmes. Michael Lees is your amateur winner over Ben Williams, Adam Holloway, and Craig Schill there at the line. Adam Mitchinson will wrap up the amateur podium, though, in the 20th spot.
21st will go to Paul Donking. Jim Gulliford is going to be finished off in 22nd. Thor Tulo in 23rd. Fiona Siddons in 24th place. 25th will go to Douglas Stewart. 26th, Liam Silkstone. Kevin McGlone in 27th. Colin Sansom in 28th. And that's the last car on the lead lap. Mark Oliver in 29th, a lap down. And Glenn Humberstone in 30th place, 5 laps down.
We'll find out when we grade up for race number 3 if Mark Oliver does get the invert or not. It may be 29 cars. It'll be an orange 88 Tech 999 if it's Oliver on pole, or a year 1 green and purple Mazda for Colin Sansom if he's on pole. We'll see in just a few moments. Glenn Humberstone, as you mentioned, finishing 30th, and the final 2 cars are Julian Schroer and Nick Clibbins, and it does look like they each finished the race, and it will be I just got word from Michael Seal. Michael, this is why I love you, buddy. It is a 29-car invert officially. 29 cars. So if we go ahead and bring this back up and bring it back to this page, you can see Mark Oliver will get the pole. Colin Sansom 28th, Kevin McGlone 27th. They will be your top 3. Liam Silkstone will start from 4th rather, and the rest of your field obviously will be inverted from there. It's going to be a great starting spot for Thor Tullo. I think that is one of the drivers you've got to watch early on in race number 3 once we set back up for it. But excuse me, just as last time, we will take a step aside and give you a nice little preview of what's to come this evening with the Nortona 500 and take our usual intermission. Don't go anywhere. More racing here on Pit Stop TV. Welcome back to the virtual Snetterton circuit. It's a little bit later in the day now. Sun is setting in the sim, and we are getting closer and closer to the evening. And I think here soon, for race number 4, maybe we could even see a bit of sunset before the day is done. We could even see a little bit of headlights popping on in these Mazda Miatas, and this only gives me hope, really, for races. Well, the race is on Thursday with the BSRTC crowd. This is going to be fun, I think, if we get to a bit of nighttime. You can see these guys getting up to speed and warm up around the Snetterton circuit. 2 pretty good races so far, JP. What are your expectations for this one? Yeah, there will be a lot that changes after this week in the standings. That's very fair to say. And as you can see, it is Mark Oliver on pole with that 999 that will get ready to start this race off in just a few moments. The field just has to grid up and get ready to go, and we'll be racing. So weather for race number 3. Track temp has come down nicely. The sun is at a pretty low angle in the sky at this point. It's still lit up nicely around this racetrack, but it's getting much lower. It's cooled things down. That's what you like to see, I think, in a good way. There's still track temp. It's not cold, but it's not hot. I like this kind of in-between here for race number 3. We'll see how the tires do in this one as we get ready for 7 or 8 more laps of racing at Snetterton Circuit. A classic British racing venue, but it has been a challenge, certainly, for the drivers and us alike. Red lights out, green lights on the way. And we're racing. Colin Sansom not starting from second. Down to Wilson the first time. Look at that, further back. Seal tangling there with, I think, Michael Lease. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. 3 wide throughout the final part of that field. That was absolutely insane to watch. As you can see, a battle for the lead maybe emerging. As you can see, the rest of the field trying to line themselves up. This is the part of the racetrack where you really don't want to go side by side because you're going to be losing a lot of time. Except on lap 1, and we already have a spinner.
That was Douglas Stewart and Kevin McGlone in the dirt. Well, in the grass, and they are stopped back there. They get back rolling. Mark Oliver, your race leader. One other car spinning. That's James Neve further back. James Sharp also in trouble as a change for the lead. Liam Silkstone takes the point.
Takes the lead so far as they now are going to approach the entering point of the back straightaway. They're now into turn 7 and turn 8. There we go. You can see the Williams board. As you can see, the rest of the field going too wide. A few drivers. Oh, teammates looks like it nearly made contact.
The field now races on to the Bentley straight. And oh, how a different sun position changes how this track looks. Liam Silkstone leading the way. Thortolo second place. I told you to watch for him. He's already looking good here as we race down the Bentley straight for the first time into Brundle. A whole field goes. Mark Oliver and Fiona Siddons. There knows the tail is Thortolo's going to get spun. Mark Oliver plows through the 44, and look at this gaggle further back. Thor's in trouble big time as he gets spun around in front of everybody and got hit head on. What a crash. Michael Lease is around back there. Wow.
Wow, indeed. A lot of contact was made on the exit of Nelson. That's probably the worst place on the racetrack to be spun at. And as you can see, that just brought up the whole field even closer. We're going to have battles, well, a lot of battles on the final corner of the raceway. But looks like, Andrew, everybody made it without contact on the exit of turn 13.
For the most part, anyways. Lap 1 now in the books. Oh my, 88 tech cars, 3x3 across the line. Look at this battle. Mark Oliver, Craig Schill, Lee Holmes, 3 wide into turn 1. And now an Excite car and the BSR machine of Michael Seal in the middle there. They sort that out through Riches. This is down to Wilson now for the second lap. What a battle through this top 10 and even further back into the top 15. And McNally goes around and it's a stack up back there. So many cars involved.
A lot of car parts were left there. A lot of pieces of cars. As you can see, it's not over. Even more. That's Thor Thurlo again.
That was Thor Thurlo. Kevin McGlone comes in. That was a massive, massive accident. Jebsen got damaged. McNally is still back there. Mark Oliver was in all of that. Douglas Stewart somehow, I think, as well. Nathan Davies is still stopped over here. I think he got up in disbelief and now will tow back to the pit lane. Wow. Just wow. There's not too many other words I can try and accentuate that with. Just wow.
That was absolutely insane. Was there all teammates involved? All Excite teammates involved? No, not all of them, but those 3 cars that were side by side, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure they all got collected. That is just heartbreaking, I guess. I have no words.
Some battles now working down the Bentley straight. There's Michael Steele and all of that getting through there, and Adam Holloway now is going to be taken 3 wide with Fiona Siddons and Lee Holmes. They both sit back, but now Lee Holmes around the outside maybe of Nelson. Fiona Siddons has had a look as well, and that has really thinned this field.
We're down to 27 cars, 26, so that instant, I mean, that's racing, obviously, but I'm just still speechless, Andrew, whenever I'm come to talk about it.
Ben Williams, another problem here. Let's go back and see if we can get a replay of it. I mean, that was huge. That was properly huge, and it all started with Adam McNally. Somebody who's got some wins in the season already. He's now down to 31st in the running order. He went around the outside there of Seal, and now battling with Mark Oliver. And if memory serves me correctly, as you see Marcel Pagnon having a moment there into Wilson, Mark Oliver just comes up out of Wilson and just, I mean, turns him around. And look at this carnage. Wow.
Insane.
Andy McEwen got a piece as well. I mean, that's Brands Indy levels of crashing right there. That was big.
That was big. That's just one of the tightest part of the race course. I don't think there's a lot of avoiding room, and unfortunately there wasn't for those drivers. But while that happened, the battle for the lead definitely still alive.
How about this
and
top
Donking.
5? Even top 7, the whole top 10 even, really.
Yes, that's crazy. Not pro. I mean, just barely a few pro drivers around there.
4 pros, 3 pro-ams, and 3 amateurs in your top 10. That's about as even as it can get. As Craig Schill is actually in a pretty good battle here with Tom Griffiths down to Augie's, it looks like. And Schill gives up that spot now to Griffiths and falls into 9th. Lars Fisher will be the next one to try and take that spot away. This is just insane.
That is insane. Indeed, race number 3 is definitely picking up the pace, I'd say, in many ways. But, well, the battles are still very much alive and very exciting indeed. As you can see, 2 cars going side by side into Brundle. As you can see, Lars Fisher trying to make a move in to get the position from Craig Schill. Not going to be able to, or is he? That was late on the outside. There's still plenty of room, and they're going to go side by side.
Contact! They're both off the racetrack, and Oliver comes back on and gets James Sharp. Oh, my goodness. That was Schill, rather, not Oliver. Sometimes team pains do get the best of me. Casper DeCourt now goes on through. Lars Fisher is behind. Andy McEwen sits back of this. Oh, man, it's gotten a whole lot worse.
It's got very interesting. And those 2 are still going to battle. They retain positions. They lost 2 of those, but, well, they're still going to battle amongst each other. As you can see, the number 4 of Andy McEwen trying to get it back. It's Tom Griffiths. And is that Marcelo Pagnon making their way through Fiona Siddons, trying to get the position? Fiona's going to be forced to the outside, and is going to be losing 2 spots in one corner, down to 8th place, but still 2nd place overall in her class.
The field works through Wilson now for the 4th time. And there's a big gaggle of cars right through here trying to fight through these corners. Look at this. 4 cars in one group led by Lars Fisher, then Craig Schill, Andy McEwen, and James Clark doing battle. McEwen tries to go around the outside of Palmer. And Jason Cooper throws a mean slide job on Glenn Humberstone. Clark now going to look to the left side of Schill as McEwen finally clears that 982. Craig Schill has gotten aggressive in this race, and Clark almost goes through Andy McEwen. Wow.
Wow, indeed, almost contact. As you can see, both of them still going at it. Jason Cooper right behind him, trying to make any time as possible. He really closed up, and he's already lining up for a move. Not quite. These two are going side by side,
Craig
nearly the
Schill
whole
has
infield.
gotten weirdly aggressive this race.
And I love it.
I don't mind it myself. Drivers might mind it a little bit, but he has gotten weirdly aggressive in this race. Let's go back up front. Paul Duncan has taken the race lead from Liam Silkstone and has taken off. Now, I started to notice that 529 catching Silkstone and starting to wonder if they were going to battle, and this is a battle for the overall win and the Pro-Am win with just 6.5 to go.
Just 6 laps, 6 minutes to go, not 6 laps. And as you mentioned, Paul Duncan has been on a great pace right now and passing Silkstone, which is close to him on the overall point standings. This could really shake up, maybe allow the 529 to close the gap down to the 594 in the point standing. And obviously, Andrew, we could be in for an all podium without a pro driver. This would be insane.
I don't think that's happened yet this season, but we just might have it happen this evening. Craig Schill still in a nice little battle here. There goes Nick Clibbins. And Marcelo Pagnon purple. There's Lee Holmes. No, Glenn Humberstone is going to square up his teammate for a pass on the front stretch. James Neves sits there as well. This has been a wild, wild race. Let's go up front a little bit into the top 10 anyways. Adam Holloway chasing Lee Holmes, one of the other 88 Tech cars. This is for 4th and 5th. Fiona Siddons actually slowed through Wilson, gives a spot up to Casper DeCoeur. It was a great start for Fiona, but starting to slide back as other drivers get a bearing on things finally. Tom Griffiths, Marcelo Pagnon, they are nose to tail almost, and they'll have a battle down to Agostini.
Yeah, they're close by each other, maybe trying to help one another, catching the top 5. Obviously, Alan Holloway just ahead of them, as now they exit turns number 5. They're gonna go to Hamilton, as you can see, and still in a line. Could Tom Griffiths maybe line up a move, maybe a dive bomb before the straightaway? Not quite likely, and they're still gonna stick by formation. Now, Marcelo Pagnon has posted a few purple laps. He's definitely the fastest car on clear air so far, so he's definitely the car that you want to follow, Andrew.
We'll see how that works out. James Sharp and Casper DeCoeur battle ahead of these guys. Fiona Siddons, Lars Fisher, and Andy McEwen doing some battle here. Andy got some damage in that crash on lap 1. I'm surprised he's still, or was it lap, no, anyways, right at the start of the race. I'm surprised he's still as clean as he is. Was it maybe not Andy McEwen? Was it maybe Colin Sansom? It shouldn't have been Colin. He shouldn't have been in that pack. But anyways, look at that. Fiona Siddons wide as Lars Fisher gives a spot up. Andy's going to go on by the both of them. That's through the bomb hole. And Jason Cooper catches up to all 3 of them.
Yeah, Jason Cooper now finds his teammate just ahead of him. He's doing a great race so far as well. As you can see, number 96 maybe lining up a move on Fiona on the final corner. Not close enough. Opening up, trying to get a better exit. Runs a little bit too wide and gets kind of blocked by Fiona. That's going to allow Jason Cooper maybe to make this 3 wide. Where will the 96 go? Oh, there we go. Teammates helping one another as Tom Griffiths now goes fastest. As you can see, that bumper, it's pretty much non-existent, and those teammates are helping. The number 96 goes around the outside of Fiona, gets that position, and can the number 1 follow him, at least on turn number 1? Not quite, but, well, watch out for turn number 2.
You may not have caught it there, but the sticker on the back end of those 5-star motorsport cars says go for the gap, and I was wondering if Jason Cooper was going to go for the gap and all of that. He decided not to. I think that was a wise move not to, but it would have been fun at the very least, as Casper DeCoeur still hangs on to the back end of James Sharp, actually. And, oh, look at this. Craig Schill and Andy Jebsen. They fight through Palmer. Jebsen around the outside now and might have a chance in Agostini. Craig Schill, very aggressive today at Snetterton. I'm surprised he's given up these spots. You can see late on the brakes, going to go right on through and right off of the racetrack almost.
Yeah, that's the other side of being too aggressive. Sometimes you just pass on that line and, well, exactly. You're just going to be forcing yourself to lose extra time for those battles that you don't really need. And unfortunately for him, he's learning that the hard way, just going backwards on race number 3. But, well, it's learning. I guess every time we race and we lose positions or we gain, we're learning. And that's really good. As you can see now, Adam Mitchinson fighting to hold off Lee Holmes. Lee's going to be going to the outside of Brundle, outside again of Nelson. And he's going to get the position. Was absolutely beautiful. English words, well, phase out of my head as we saw that move. So Lee Holmes right now breaks away that top 3 without a pro driver, and well, he's gonna win his class so far if he can break away because Marcelo Paganum is closing in.
This would be really good for Lee Holmes if he can get it. He's 2 minutes to go. He's way too far back to catch the leaders of, I can't believe I'm saying this, Paul Donkin and Liam Silkstone. As Fiona Sitters has a problem through Coram, goes up a lot of spots here. I'd have to imagine there was contact involved. It's a second gap up front, though, for our race leaders as they work through Riches. This is potentially the last lap, presented by Tucson Sound Art. We'll find out in a few moments. Donkin leads into Wilson. I can't believe Paul Donkin might get this race win.
That would be absolutely insane, and that would be a huge boost morale for him. I'm pretty sure he'll be ecstatic. 1.1 seconds right now. I'm sure the pressure is building inside that cockpit. His heart is probably beating even faster than what it was as he's approaching maybe the final lap of the race. Silkstone is going to be doing absolutely everything he can to close in the gap. As you can see there, Lee Holmes, Mitchison, and Paganel on the back way of their shot 5 seconds away. They're not going to be close enough to close that gap. But boy, oh boy, I'm sure the battles are still coming. There we go, Marcelo Paganum up to 4th place. And only 1 car between him and the Pro Class wing.
Yeah, it's not race over yet for Lee Holmes. He can't guarantee himself the win. Can't drive like it either. He's got to be safe here this last lap. Through Augies. It'll be Williams and onto the Bentley straight for the race while the pro leader. Meanwhile, a Pro-Am driver leads this race. Paul Donkin over Liam Silkstone. And Liam Silkstone, if you recall back to Daytona, JP called his shot, said he was going to win a race. Didn't do it at Daytona. Didn't do it at Knock Hill. This is a good opportunity, though. I don't know how he's going to make up a second. He makes up 3/10 there, though. He's got to make up a few more. I mean, he's still got a ways to go. He wants to win this race. I don't think he can do it, but he's going to give it a shot.
Absolutely, he's going to give his best shot at this time because this might be the closest opportunity he has to win a race. 0.8 of a second is the gap. Could this be the final lap of the race? I think it is, Andrew. 10 seconds to go. The move will have to be made on the final corner. Not close enough, and Paul Donkin somehow is going to be winning. He's already celebrating.
Paul Donkin grabs race win number 1 on the season. In race number 3, don't spin here. Oh, he got close a couple of times, gets the wall as he comes by the speed shot. How about that for a celebration? Lee Holmes wins in Pro. Adam Mitchinson wins in Pro-Am. And for a moment, I thought there was maybe a penalty for Marcelo Pagnan. I hope you saw that on the ticker. That changed around, but the rest of the field comes on through, wraps up race number 3, which goes the way, as I said, of Paul Donkin. Now, the flip side of that is he's going to start well deep in the field more than likely in this next race.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be I guess the bad side of winning a race. But who knows? Maybe he gets lucky and only gets 11 spots flipped up on his way. But only time will tell. As you can see, a few extra drivers finishing up their races and the rest of the field finishing up. This was an absolutely insane race, Andrew.
That it was. As a few more guys come on through. We've got to add another name to our BSR win list. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty fun to say. I really like that, and I'm happy it was Paul Donkin. Unfortunately, not close enough for Leon Silkstone, but I'm sure his time will come. It will come because his pace on this race was, well, it was great. It was almost good enough for a win.
And I think the coolest part about that is now as a 1 car escaped. I guess that resets our speed shot there, but let's go back to it. Well, that doesn't just give him a race win. That's our first Pro-Am winner in Mazda competition. We've had 2 over in the touring cars. Nathan Davies and Michael Seal both at Daytona. But that's our first Pro-Am winner in the Mazda Miatas here on Trophy Tuesdays. The only other non-pro winner was, as mentioned earlier, Craig Schill at Daytona. And yeah, he's an amateur. So that's our first Pro-Am overall race winner. That's pretty cool to see there. Let's go ahead and fire up the spinning wheel and give it one more spin around on this Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. It was full last time, almost 12, and this time it's going to be 11, which is also almost 12.
Wow, somehow that commentator's curse worked on me. I said 11, Paul Donkin would start. There we go.
Did you really? I didn't even pay that much attention. All right.
Yes, I said.
Go buy a lottery ticket real quick. Come back later. Yeah. Go get a ticket now. You don't want to miss that. So an 11-car invert, that's going to flip things around and actually put Lars Fischer on pole, which, I mean, Oh, this is going to be perfect for 5-Star Motorsport. They're going to start first, second, and fourth. We'll see the results in a moment. In fact, we'll see them now. This is brilliant for 5-Star Motorsport for race number 4. I think we see another case of Jason Cooper dominating the day in race 4.
Absolutely, that's a very likely result.
Yeah.
But obviously, well, there's still plenty of racing. Anything can happen. But yeah, as we mentioned, Paul Donkin won the race. Is going to be starting in 11th place, ahead of Liam Silkstone in 2nd place. Lee Holmes finishes off in 3rd place, our pro driver winner. Marcelo Paganum in 4th. Adam Mitchinson is going to be winning the amateur class in 5th place, ahead of Tom Griffiths. Adam Holloway 2nd place in the pro-am class, 7th place overall. Casper DeCourt 8th place, ahead of Andrew McEwen, and Jason Cooper in 10th place.
So Jason Cooper will start second to his teammate Lars Fischer, Nick Clibbins, James Clark, James Neve. I bet they wish they had that invert spin again. Andrew Jebsen there in 15th, Adam Delmont 16th, Craig Schill 17th. It's Glenn Humberstone, Fiona Siddons, and Ben Williams that wrap up your top 20. And Ben Williams, man, what a terrible race for him. And a lot of it, if not all of it, wasn't even his own doing. Just a lot of bad luck in that 3rd race.
Absolutely. Unfortunately for him, did not go to his way. Thor Tulo is going to be finished off in 21st place, ahead of Kevin McGlone. Michael Sewell in 23rd, ahead of Colin Samsam. James Sharp in 25th. Douglas Stewart in 26th. Michael Lees in 27th. And then we have Mark Oliver and Adam McNally 6 laps down, both of them, as well as Jamie Gulliford.
And finishing 31st, just one more car, Nathan Davies, 6 laps down. Rather unfortunate race there for Nathan. Had a good looking start to things earlier in the day, and unfortunately does not end that way for him. He was caught up in all of that crash, and yeah, that was a big one there out of Wilson on lap number 1. Let's go ahead and bring in one driver who was elected to grab an interview, and JP, that is somebody who called his shot back at Daytona and just finished second.
So Liam, unfortunately for you, that was 2nd place, less than a second away from that victory. As Andrew mentioned, you called your shot that you were going to win a race at Daytona. Came so close.
No, I'm happy with 2nd place. So far, I've come last, second. So I'll take Colton, and the 11 reverse is really going to help me in the long run. So it's just damage limitation now.
Well, obviously, as you mentioned, you finished last on race number 1 and race number 2, second in race number 3. Could we expect a 1st place for race number 4?
Nope, I'm rubbish around here. I'm not confident whatsoever. You've got Holloway, Donkin. I was saying to Donkin during the race, I don't know if he heard me, I was like, look, just go. I'll just sit behind you, and I'm not gonna win a race. Just get me some points.
So during that race, as you mentioned, you were talking to Donkin to just drive away. Are you just in, as you mentioned, damage limitation? Are you just on that mode even for race number 4?
Yeah, definitely. I've had a shocking race one. It was quite funny if I can find the stream from the other one. I came into the final corner and went, watch Scandi Flake! And then on your stream you can see the giant plume of smoke, how it ended. Because I was crashing anyway, and race 2, my VR died. So now it's just get as many points as I can.
And obviously you came to this race, to this round overall in 2nd place, just 63 points behind Douglas Stewart. Coming into race number 4, do you feel like you can close that gap maybe a little bit down to luck and maybe down to pace?
A bit of 50-50 because drop realms come into it. So at the minute, I wasn't here last week, so I'm on a 0. So I'm sort of like 70 points in front. So I'm just like trying to creep the gap up, so when the drop realms come in, I've got that bit of a buffer. So just points. All I need is points.
There you go. That's going to be a good strategy, and we're definitely going to keep an eye out for you. So with that being said, I'm going to let you focus for race number 4, and hopefully we can talk to you then.
Yep, Sam, thank you very much.
So that was Liam Silkstone. Andrew, apparently, well, obviously with the drop week being in the lead of the championship, the Pro-Am Championship, but well, still a lot to play for.
Yeah, still a lot to play for, absolutely. I mean, he's not quite in the Pro-Am fight. In fact, let's pull up the points. He's not quite where we would expect him. I guess he is in the fight with Douglas Stewart, and Douglas Stewart has had a pretty bad day of racing, I would say. So I think Liam's probably in a good spot, actually, come to think of it. He doesn't feel like somebody who's been in this conversation as potentially leading the points, but I think he might be after today at Snetterton. It's been a good day of racing for him, for sure. One more intermission, one more break here at Pit Stop TV. We'll be right back to you with race coverage of race number 4. Welcome back to the virtual Snetterton circuit. A good look at some of the curbs here. In fact, this is in Murray's corner. A look at Wilson as well. And, of course, named after the late Justin Wilson. I do like the naming to a lot of these corners here at Snetterton, paying a lot of homage to a lot of great race car drivers and people who have influenced the motorsport world, the motorsport industry. So I like that very much. You can see night is just about fallen upon the circuit, and track temps, they're staying steady at 77 degrees, matching the air temp. It's staying warm even into the evening.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really interesting, and obviously that will help the drivers, maintain the pace that they had on race number 3. Obviously, with a new challenge, as you mentioned, the sun is coming down. We're gonna have some headlight action, and that should only make things fun. But obviously, for some drivers, might not be their preference.
Only 11 drivers being inverted for this final race. Here's a quick look at some of the upcoming broadcasts here at Pit Stop TV. There's a lot of them. But we have narrowed it down a little bit, I feel like. Only one more race, for example, for the BRP iRacing series, and then things are going to take a break on Mondays. It's kind of simplified a little bit, but still a lot of racing, especially tonight. We've got a 500-mile event at Daytona with the NASCAR next-gen cars for the NORC iRacing series. It's the Daytona 500. That's going to be a lot of fun. BSR TC returns on Thursday for round number 6, right back here at Snetterton. And as I mentioned, the BRP iRacing series, one race left, and I'm going to be honest with you, JP, we have no clue who's going to win that championship just yet. It's either going to be Brandon Plank, Travis Miller, or Brett Rolls, but it is still so wide open. It's a good one to tune in for on Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's go ahead and turn the music down, turn the motors up, and get ready for race number 4. 7, maybe 8 more laps in this one. Jason Cooper held a blinding pace in that first race and made 8 laps. It's been 7 laps since. Let's see what we can do in race number 4. Red lights are out. Green lights coming on right about now. Maybe we're waiting on it. There we go. Green lights. McEwen already swerving, looking for positions here to Wilson we go. A top 3 almost of all 5-star motorsport cars. McGlone is around in the back, and there is contact at least in this lead pack. A couple of cars around. We do have a spin. That is Craig Schill around. Humberstone as well. Williams even is around. And one other car, I believe that might be James Clark. It's hard to tell. The leaders race on to Agostini here. McEwen almost contact there with Lars Fischer. Here we go, turn 4.
McEwen tried to make his way to second place, nearly got bumped from behind. As you can see, looks like we're going to have an all teammates top 3. McEwen still on the inside as they head into turn number 5. Hamilton, we're going to see who's going to come out on top. Are they still going to be side by side on the exit of the corner? Looks like not quite. The number 4 gets the position as we have a few cars extra battling for position, but looks like Andrew, a well-behaved start from each and every single driver.
Back to our blimp cam as they round Williams. McEwen gets in behind Casper to court here and moves Casper off to the inside of the racetrack. Casper's going to give up 1, 2, 3 spots. I think it might have been a slowdown for the 5 car. Griffiths, a look now to the inside of Brundle. That is Marcelo Pagnon siding with Andy McEwen to Brundle and then to Nelson. Here we go, the first side-by-side of the field. Contact. McEwen hangs on to it. Griffiths with a punt there, maybe from Marcelo Pagnon. Oh my goodness. 2 minutes almost already cooked out of this race. It's getting fun.
It's getting really fun. This is the final race of the day. These drivers know this is the final opportunity for them to get points, so they're racing with their hearts out, as we just saw. I mean, drivers going side by side all race long, as you can see there. Few driver Marcelo Pagnon trying to make his way up for the top 3, couldn't really go. And look at that train, Andrew, with those headlights. This is going to be an absolutely amazing shot.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars across the line. Silkstone is already in a pretty good spot. He's into 10th after that first lap. A lot of the rest of the field has fallen way back of these guys. In fact, a few drivers not making it to race number 4, down to 28 cars in this 4th race on the day. Here's a look at Silkstone on board with him now as he follows Mitchinson into Wilson. Silkstone's second in class. Holloway is the only Pro-Am ahead of him, but he has got Paul Duncan out the rearview mirror.
Yeah, Silkstone, well, this is pretty much race number 3 in reverse. Silkstone ahead of Paul Donking, but Silkstone looks really racy. We talked to him and he said he was going to be cautious, but if the opportunity presents itself, I doubt he wouldn't go for it. Mitchinson almost allowed him to go through on turn number 2, not lap number 2, but on turn number 2, but as you can see, still in 10th place. Paul Donking is still in 11th as we have a few extra cars. As you can see, the number 5 of Casper Decourt trying to make his way past Adam Holloway, but Adam still holding that position very strong, very sideways as well, but keeps the car pointing in the right direction.
Now gets passed up, and will be on the nose of Adam Mitchinson through Williams here. This is good news for Liam Silkstone behind, as Holloway slots in behind Casper Decourt, and these guys up ahead are going to do some battle down the Bentley straight. Andy McEwen going to be passed up here by Tom Griffiths. This time Griffiths, I think, will have him cleared by Brundle. Moves over, and yes, he does.
Gets that move, moves himself up into 3rd place. Only Lars Fischer and Jason Cooper to essentially between him and the lead, as we have extra battles that you can see the number 77 of Adam Delmont trying to make his way into the top 10, currently in 12th place, just behind Paul Donking. And well, he looks racy, Andrew. Race number 3 did not go his way, but this just might be it.
They round Coram. And into Murray's corner to wrap up this second lap of action. We're expecting 7 laps now in this race. Delmont was sliding through Murray's that time as he chases Donkin. And look at that gap behind Nathan Davies. That is some 6 seconds. Back to Ben Williams in one car. Spins. It's Jamie Gulliford.
And he goes straight back into the pit lane, so I'm pretty sure that was contact on the exit of the final corner between him and some other drivers currently catch the car, but unfortunately that's going to be his race, well, done and dusted already.
You see back up front, 1 car around, that is, was that Adam Mitchinson? It was, the amateur leaders around in Wilson, and he gives up he hasn't given up the amateur lead yet. Where's the nearest amateur driver? Kevin McGlone.
Yes, just outside in 21st place.
Now only 2 spots between, 1 spot between McGlone and Mitchinson as they work through Palmer. Mitchinson slots in behind Williams, and look at this gaggle to Agostini. Michael Steele has a great view of it all.
Michael Steele has one of the best shots, as you can see. A lot of opportunities may be opening up for him as they head into Hamilton. It's going to be sticking in a straight line, but any sort of contact will definitely help him move up a lot of places. He's getting really close to the back end as of the driver ahead of him, trying to line up a move maybe on the exit of turn number 8. Can he? No, but well, Andrew, now comes the best part, the overtaking heaven of the back straightaway.
Silkstone has dropped down to 14th now, passed up by Neve, Delmont, Clibbins, and Clark. And he works down the Bentley straight, maybe with an eye on his rearview mirror as Thoratolo uses the draft a little bit. And into Brundle, here we go. Closes in on the cars ahead. That's James Clark directly in front of Liam. No passing opportunities just yet.
No passing opportunities, and unfortunately for this final sector is going to be really hard to maybe line up a move. Obviously getting close, as you can see now, turn 12, this long sweeping right-hander. This is where you could line up an opportunity, maybe into turn 13. As you can see, Adam Delmont not close enough, but that apex was just so much better than Paul Donkin, and well, looks like he's going to get the position. Paul allows him to have the inside line. Will he close the door? He's pushing him against the wall, and there we go, that wall is closed. Delmont is going to have to be forced, he's going to have to go on the outside. Can he outbrake the number 529? Not quite. They're going to go side by side though.
Side by side through Riches. And we'll go down to Wilson here as Neve had to look through the middle. Delmont outside, Donkin inside. And a crossover there. Delmont gets the spot and takes off from that 529. Holloway is now, well, still leading in Pro-Am. And that puts, Donkin in second place in this class. Third going currently to Liam Silkstone. Fourth in class goes to Nathan Davies, and fifth in class all the way back to 21st overall at Glenn Humberstone.
As you can see, Paul Donkin making his way through turns number 4. As you can see, the number 7, James Neve, trying to get the way past. Oh, that's going to be really sideways, and somehow he catches it.
Everyone continues on. Let's go on board with James Clark back here. Kind of watching all this happen in front of him. You can see the green Excite car. That is Delmont up the road. In behind him, that's Donkin in the Red Bull colors. And then James Neve and Nick Clibbins directly ahead. And if you're James Clark here, this is an easy opportunity, I think, to draft up down the Bentley straight. You just got to set up Williams the right way, and now he dips out to the left side, actually giving himself room, maybe to be aggressive into Brundle and Nelson?
Maybe just giving himself breathing room in case anything happens, maybe not to get collected as well. Kind of an interesting choice, but as you can see, he moved out, lost a bit of a gap, but closed all the way back to the bumper again on the exit. So kind of a smart move, retains the same gap he had before, but well, maybe just trying to be safe.
We'll stay on board with him here. This is through Murray's corner to wrap up the lap. I do like onboards. We haven't had as many onboard shots today as usual. That's kind of a shame, but a good one there is Tom Griffiths in third place, goes fastest. Purple there. I can't believe it. He has caught Lars Fischer. And Casper de Court, unfortunately, kind of giving up this top three for the team, as you saw McEwen off track a little bit there through Riches. Griffiths is close. I think he's going to make a move soon.
Yeah, Griffith is close. He definitely smelling that win. You know, only 1 second away from him, as you can see, Cooper. But Fischer is probably gonna be the biggest roadblock the number 11 has ever seen. Just as I say that, he goes really wide on the exit of turn 3. That's gonna force him to go defensive into turn 4. The number 11 follows him, dips to the outside. Can he outbrake him? No, they're gonna go side by side. As you can see, Tom Griffiths now maybe lining up a better exit. Not quite, just maybe. If he can get the inside line into Hamilton's, that could be move done, but as you can see, he gets forced to the grass, somehow still in position. Andrew, this is getting really interesting.
Griffith sits back now as Fischer overruns Aggies, and that opens the door on Williams. A good shot here for Griffiths to get the spot. He's going to. Can Lars Fischer come back at him, though, as we'll go on board with Andy McEwen rather sitting back at both of these guys. Marcelo Pagnan out of his rearview mirror, but a little too far back, I think, to do anything by Brundle. This will be a fun shot. Lars Fischer back to the right side of Griffiths. That'll be the inside for Nelson. Contact there. McEwen dives, stays behind Fischer. And you got to wonder, does Fischer maybe feel slighted by all of that? Is he going to try and use a little bit of contact to get that spot back?
That would definitely be interesting. With only 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go, could be a possibility. I don't really think that could happen, but well, if it might happen, it might be on turn 13. As you can see, him taking a really wide line to line himself better for the braking zone, trying to get a better exit and onto the main straight, onto the center straight. Not quite. Well, he went really wide, Andrew, and he might fall victim of Andrew McEwen.
McEwen and Griffith side by side of the line right there. Marcelo Pagnan in behind, then Lee Holmes and Casper de Court. How about the turnaround for Lee Holmes today? Looking good in this fourth race. I say the turnaround. He just won in Pro that last race, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He's, well, looking to get a really big bag of points on race number 3. As you can see, Marcelo is probably going to get 2 positions.
3 wide out of Wilson. McEwen in the middle of Marcelo Pagnan and Lars Fischer sandwich. Marcelo backs out. Lars Fischer is certainly feeling the pressure now. Marcelo going to side with him. No, he's going to go 3. Lars tries to block. That was a properly defensive and block. I mean, he was watching his mirror that time. Marcelo backs way out. And Andy overcharges Agostini. That opens the door back to the inside for Lars Fischer. Oh, contact there. Andy McEwen came over. Net coated him 3 wide. They stay rolling. This is now to Hamilton. Side by side for McEwen and Pagnan. What a catch by everybody.
Exactly, that was absolutely insane. Marcelo Pagnan forced to the outside. He's still going to be on the outside. Look at Casper de Court trying to get any piece of the action. He's going to get the position over Marcelo, so looks like Casper de Court is going to be moving himself into 5th place. Still side by side, McEwen ahead of Lars Fischer. This is absolutely insane. Now looks like the 2 teammates might just help each other as they head into Brundle and Nelson. And, well, what's going to happen? The number 5 kind of darts were nearly going 4 wide.
Marcelo takes a couple spots. Teammates contact there. Lars Fischer spins. Gets Lee Holmes. Lars Fischer, what a catch out of both of them.
They both save it. That was absolutely insane. Now Lars Fischer's going to have the inside of Lee Holmes. Lee kind of closes the door, leaves the gap a little bit. That was just insane couple of corners.
Lars Fischer, a really good catch along with Lee Holmes. Casper de Court kept his composure as well. through Murray's there, and Marcelo Pagnan. Oh, this is going to get fun with Marcelo Pagnan and Andy McEwen here. 2 minutes to go. Jason Cooper is going to extend this race once again to 8 laps. The pace out of this one car is just incredible.
Absolutely incredible. That gap was 1.1. I'm pretty sure he just decided to pick up the pace, and the number 11, Tom Griffith, cannot really catch him, at least for the time being. The gap is stable at 2.2, 2.1, 2.3 seconds. So Jason Cooper with an absolutely insane, well, pace. And, well, these guys as well, they have insane pace, but the battle really slowed them down. And the number 4 is going to be battling the number 12 and the number 5 for the final step of the podium.
Good battle here. McEwen, Pagnan, and Court. Well, Casper to Court, rather. And you can see the gaggle behind as well. Look at Adam Holloway in all of this. Holloway is still leading in Pro-Am, but just barely over Paul Donkin. This is a battle for a class win. Donkin very aggressive in the braking zone. Backs up at Apex. You saw the checkup out of Neve to stay out of the back of him. Leading in amateur is Adam Mitchinson. He's got 8 seconds back to his closest competitor, but it does look like it's a battle potentially shaping up for second in an amateur, as this is a really good fight for the Pro-Am win.
Absolutely. Adam Holloway with a lot of pressure behind from Paul Donkey. This could really, well, shake up not only the championship but the race as well, as they're really close now heading into the Bentley straight, the back straightaway. This is going to be a slipstream fast. The number 510, will he go defensive? Will he stay on the racing line? Is Paul Donkey close enough to maybe put up a move down into Brundo? Looks like not for the time being, unless he goes for a late dive. No, but he definitely pressures the 510 to maybe make a mistake, as, oh, someone definitely had contact.
Glenn Humberstone and Kevin McGlone back here have an issue. They get back going. Let's go back towards the front, because McEwen and Court, Casper to Court, battling through Coram. Marcelo Pagnan passed the 4-car in Brundle and Nelson and is now trying to set sail. This is through Murray's, and will pick up that battle for the Pro-Am victory again. As actually, yes, Jason Cooper just extends this race. White flag is out, presented by Tucson Sound Art. Here is the battle for the Pro-Am win.
Final lap for these guys to decide who's going to win in their class, who's going to finish 9th place. Looks like Holloway's going to be going defensive on the inside line. Paul Donkin's going to be going to the outside line. Can he stick around the outside? Yes, they can. He goes a little bit wide. Can he keep that car on the road? Yes, he can. He's going to have to go defensive to not lose an extra position. So from the attack, he goes defensive. From James Neve, looks like the number 7 is trying to make his way around the outside. Not close enough, as we cut even ahead.
There's a crash somewhere.
Neve.
Neve is around. Clark had contact. Clibbins as well. And Neve gets back rolling. There was also a pass up here with Andy McEwen and Casper to Court. They got back to the same order. McEwen going to defend into Agostini. This is for 4th and 5th on the racetrack for cars 4 and 5. Lee Holmes behind them. So this pack has caught itself back up, just not quite side by side like it was earlier. Casper to Court all over the back end of McEwen. It would take a slight bump at this point to move that 4-car out of the way and take the spot, but I think Casper to Court wants to pass it with a bit of dignity here. That's through Augie's, Williams next, and on to the backstretch they will go.
The back straightaway, this might be one of the last opportunities for the number 5 to make a move. Casper de Court definitely is going to be trying to make a move. Goes a little bit wide, saves the car, and that might just be it. That's going to lose him the momentum that he had over Andrew McEwen. Unfortunately, not going to be close enough to mount a move into Brundle. Maybe just enough to force a mistake. Meanwhile, we cut back to the number 1 in the number 1 spot. Jason Cooper with an absolutely insane pace. He won race number 1, Andrew, and looks like he's set to race number 4.
Jason Cooper, barring anything weird happening in this final couple of corners, through Coram, now Murray's corner. Jason Cooper is going to win a 7th race. All he's got to do is come back up through the gears and come under the flag stand to claim it. And yes, Jason Cooper, 7 wins now on this season. That is more wins than we have raced rounds. So he's got, on average, at least 1 win per round. Griffith 2nd. Here's the race for 3rd. Pagnan will take 3rd. That is McEwen and DeCourt. A great battle there further back. Here's the battle for the amateur Pro-Am race win. Holloway gets it over Donkin. And further back, Mitchinson is in a great spot to go ahead and claim the win in amateur. Here he comes. He's one of the next to come across the line. In fact, he will now be the next to come across the line, all on his lonesome. Few more cars to finish. Michael Leese now across. Liam Silkstone dropped all the way to 19th, and here he comes across the line very slowly. Glenn Humberstone will come across and finish 20th. McGlone 21st, and Sansom makes it back out onto the racetrack and finishes 22nd in this race once he comes across the stripe. Well, JP, that is Snetterton.
Can we do it again? Oh, wait, we will on Thursday.
Yeah, I was going to say, we are doing this again, and something tells me it's going to be just as, if not more exciting. Great battles all race long. And now, I was skeptical coming into Snetterton, I won't lie. And I know you were too, but I'll throw myself under the bus here. I was skeptical, and I wasn't sure how this race was going to go, or how this day of racing was going to go. It's a very weird infield section, definitely a lot of contact in Agostini, and even Palmer, even Wilson, as we saw. Very narrow racetrack, not a whole lot of elevation change. I'm used to tracks like VIR, Road America, Laguna Seca with all of their elevation change and sweeping corners, but Snetterton definitely impressed me today. Very good stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to throw myself under the bus as well. I thought that maybe Snetterton 200 was going to be the right option, but boy, I was wrong, and I'm ready for more Snetterton 300 on Thursday because I felt like this completely fit the scenario, the British Sim Races, I guess, motto, you could say, of racing. It was absolutely so much fun, and, well, I cannot wait to do it again.
And if you want the win totals now on the season with Jason Cooper taking a 7th, the next closest is going to be a multi-way tie, and usually would say a 2-way or a 3-way tie. No, it's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way tie at 2 wins. Adam McNally, James Sharp, Adam Delmont, Tom Griffiths, and Casper DeCourt are the only other drivers to win multiple races. Your other winners on the season, including Chris Knox, Lars Fisher, Greg Schill, Michael Seal, Lee Holmes, and Paul Donkin. That is just, I think, staggering. You've got 1s and 2s and then a 7 for Jason Cooper.
Absolutely insane. Just, I guess, class of the field, you could say. Just insane how many wins he has under his belt. And it's each and every single one of them well-deserved.
Yeah, I don't think we have official word just yet, but I know you called this out at Knock Hill. I think he's in the number 1 for a reason, likely the champion of last time around for Trophy Tuesday MX-5 Racing. Let's go ahead and look at the results here for race number 4. Jason Cooper with the race win, Tom Griffith second, Marcelo Pagnan there in third, Andy McEwen fourth, Casper DeCourt fifth. So positions 1, 4, and 5 go the way of their car numbers. Lee Holmes sixth, then it's Lars Fisher, Adam Delmont, Adam Holloway, and Paul Donkin, your top 10. Holloway then with the Pro-Am win.
Paul Donkin second place in the Pro-Am category. Nick Clibbins in 11th place ahead of James Clark. Michael Seal in 13th. Ben Williams in 14th. James Sharp in 15th. Nathan Davies is going to be running off the Pro-Am podium in 16th place. Adam Minchison is going to be winning the amateur class in 17th. 18th will go the way of Michael Lees. Liam Silkstone in 19th place. And 20th place will go the way of Glenn Humberstone.
Finishing 21st in the 4th race at Snetterton is Kevin McGlone, Colin Sansom there in 22nd, James Neve 23rd, Thor Tullo 24th, Douglas Stewart 25th. This is where you get to guys who had some bad luck, like Thor Tullo and Douglas Stewart, 3 laps down apiece. Jamie Gulliford and Craig Schill 7 laps down, and Fiona Siddons right off the start, bad luck, finishes 8 laps down in 28th spot. And that will do it. I mean, that is 4 races at Snetterton, JP, and sets us up for an interesting week to continue on here from here.
Oh, absolutely. I know you have a 500-mile race to do just in a few hours, but obviously...
A few hours? We start up in about an hour and a half. That's when we take the group.
Oh, there you go. So there we go. So shortly, you're going to have a 500-mile race. That's going to be absolutely crazy. I'll try to follow it as best as I can with the next-gen cars. That teaser you showed us was absolutely insane and definitely got me hyped. And obviously on Thursday, we can do this all over again, but with TC cars.
And that's where you get to the Monday time slot, or slot, I guess, here on Pit Stop TV with the BRP iRacing Series. So the North Toyota 500, BSR TC, BRP iRacing Series, a great 3 broadcasts to look forward to next. And then next week, we have a single on Tuesday for the first time since December, JP. Since last year. And that'll be, of course, round number 7 here of BSR Trophy Tuesday MX-5s with Silverstone National, and then obviously BSR TC next week at Silverstone National as well. It's going to be an interesting time here on Pit Stop TV as we wrap up a couple of series and begin a couple of new ones in the next month or so. Very, very much looking forward to it. In fact, there is one series that I want to highlight a little bit after I urge everybody to go ahead and follow us on social media. A lot of the links and handles there below the upcoming broadcast graphic. Let's go ahead and look at those that we're talking about here. One of the series that I'm really looking forward to and will join BSR on Tuesdays, actually. It's the NARL, North American Racing League Porsche Cup. The first season of it. We've had GT3 racing now for 2 seasons strong, and this is what is taking the place of NORC. Now, NORC is kind of dipping out. They're kind of closing down for a little while, ending full-time season racing at the very least. And in its place, North American Racing League, with the help of VRS, Moradness, and several others, well, their usual partners in crime, well, I say in crime and racing, really, we've got the Porsche Cup schedule. Hockenheim Ring, Daytona, Long Beach, Hungaroring, Spa, Charlotte Motor Speedway, that's going to be a lot of fun, Road Atlanta, and the Red Bull Ring. 8 really good tracks for some really good racing.
Absolutely, this schedule is absolutely insane, and it's going to be so much fun to see these drivers tackle on these race courses with the Porsche. That's just going to be so much fun. Obviously, it's well regarded as one of the best cars on the iRacing service, and on the hands of those drivers, I mean, is it another recipe for success?
And we're adding a lot more, and the race structure is changing. We're going to have a standalone AM and Pro-Am race, and then a standalone Pro race, so they're bringing in a lot more drivers. It'll be a lot more broadcasting for us. We'll have the intermissions just like here. It's going to be different from what we've seen these last few months with the North American Racing League since the summer of 2021, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think even bring a taste of the British sim racers here with our intermissions in between races. I think that's going to be fun as well. We will take a step aside, well, fully here, because the broadcast is done. I want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening and joining us here at Pit Stop TV for coverage of the British sim racers at Snetterton. This has been Trophy Tuesday action, 4 races and 3 different winners. Congratulations to each of our winners this week: Jason Cooper twice over, Casper DeCourt, his teammate, and Paul Donkin, a Pro-Am driver, grabbing a win as well. We will see you next week from Silverstone, or later this week right back here from Snetterton, and hopefully even later this evening from Daytona International Speedway for the Norctona 500. Next gen cars, it's coming to Pit Stop TV, it's coming to NASCAR. It's going to be a lot of fun. Enjoy this quick teaser as we close things out. Thanks to my partner this evening, though, JP Costa. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, and we'll see you hopefully for the Norctona 500 in just about 90 minutes.